What's up, everybody? It's your boy Tino here. And as you guys can see from the thumbnail, you can see from the background behind me, we are finally here. Week 1 of the NFL fantasy football and the NFL regular season is back after 7 months since January. We've been watching Chiefs celebrate. We've been watching them do their thing, but 7 months later, all the teams start off fresh. Everybody's 1-0, or 0-0, I should say, not 1-0. Everybody's 0-0, and it's a clean slate, and it's anybody's game. So today, guys, I'm here to help you preview week 1 of the NFL fantasy football season, preview week 1 of the regular season. I'm here to help you set your lineups and so much more. So today, guys, welcome to the first episode of this year's fantasy football show, as we will be here every Tuesday at 3 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time live to help you set your weekly lineups, get you ready to make sure you defeat your opponent, make sure that we talk about the actual games going on and everything in between. So, guys, this is how we're going to be doing it this year. If you guys can see the stuff on the bottom, obviously, it's going to be kind of different this week because we don't have like a Monday night game to talk about. We haven't learned anything yet. There hasn't been any disappointments or top performances. So the way we're going to do this is we're going to talk about the headlines. I'm going to give you some guys that I think the top 10 players of the fantasy football season this year. I'm going to give you some bold predictions, some 3 things that I think that may happen, and everything else like that. But next week, starting next week, everything right here on the bottom of the ticker is what we will be doing. So before we get into everything else, let's see what we have and let's see what we got going on here. We got Missy in the house. What's up, Missy? We got April in the house. What's up, April? What's up, Jadis? Jadis, it has been 7 months since football. February, bro. February. The Super Bowl was in February, bro. And we hear 7 months or 8. Well, yeah, 7 months because it's now September. I was going to say August, but it's September now. Time flies when you're having a good time. So, guys, let's get into it, though. Let's not waste any more time. And let me tell you about some things that have been going down. We got some injury news. We got some other things that have been going down. So, before we get to all of that, I want to say we back, everybody. First of all, just got to say, welcome back to the fantasy football season. So happy that fantasy football season is back. Good to be back. Happy and ready to defend my title. I got a championship to defend, guys. We are back-to-back champions here in my ESPN league. So I got to make sure Tino going for a 3-peat this year. So that's going to be good. We got some news today that isn't some good news, especially if you drafted this guy. And it's so funny because I drafted this guy, and I'm starting to think it's just me. Travis Kelce, guys, the best tight end in all of football, best tight end in football, fantasy football, anything in general, and he hyperextended his leg or knee today in practice. And with the game being in 48 hours, let's hope that Travis Kelce can find a way to play, because if he plays, he's in your fantasy football lineups. But if he does not play, it's a big loss for week 1 of the fantasy football season. But I will be here to help you guys and help you guys find other tight ends in case Travis Kelce is out. Of course he is, the year that I actually was able to get him. So you got to love it. But that's some news that we got going into the week. We got a lot of stuff going down. There's just, I don't even know. There's just so much to talk about. I don't even know where to begin. But let's also, while we're talking about that injury bug, let's talk about more of those injuries, because it looks like if you drafted Cooper Kupp in the first couple rounds, or you kept him in a league or 2 or whatever you may have done with him, it looks like Cooper Kupp may be, and he might be out a few weeks. He isn't, and he is still going to see a doctor to see and what he can do to make the injury better. But I don't know if Cooper Kupp's going to be playing week 1. So you might want to look out for better options and everything like that. And honestly, he was somebody that I said that I was staying away from, because between Cooper Kupp and Christian McCaffrey, those two give me so much anxiety about getting hurt. I just would rather stay away. We also have Joe Burrow. He is day-to-day, and as we know, Joe Burrow got hurt in the beginning of the preseason and during practice and everything like that. I don't know what's with all these guys getting hurt during practice, but it's not a very good thing right now. So Joe Burrow, it looks like he's day to day, and it looks like he will suit up for week 1. So if you have Joe Burrow, if he's playing, he's got to play for your fantasy football team, just like Travis Kelce. If Travis Kelce plays on Thursday night, you put Travis Kelce in that lineup. The only way you don't put Travis Kelce in the lineup is if they say he's out on Thursday. So honestly, we just got to wait till Thursday, and whatever happens, happens. But honestly, the best case scenario for this is at least it's week 1. I say that because you can't. I did it last year, guys. I went 6. I was 4-8. I literally had to win every single matchup from there on out to win the league, make the playoffs, and win the championship. And I did just that. I went 5-8, 6-8. I won the first round of the playoffs, the second round of the playoffs. I barely won the championship. So it's able to be done. So at least with these injuries to these big name guys, at least it is only week 1. We also have Breece Hall. Breece Hall is recovering from the injury that he's coming back from and everything like that. It does look like Breece Hall is going to be playing this week, but it does look like Breece Hall might have a limited role. They did go out and get Dalvin Cook over from the Minnesota Vikings to go team up with his old nemesis in the NFC North and Aaron Rodgers. So I think if Breece Hall is limited, I think Dalvin Cook is a very good streaming option, flex option, whatever type of a league you're in, especially if Breece Hall is going to be limited. And Aaron's going to want to throw the ball to Dalvin Cook, kind of like how Kirk Cousins did. So again, as I always say, and I'm going to be saying it a lot this year, it is only Tuesday, so a lot of these injuries can change. You just got to keep an eye out for it. You just got to keep an eye out for everything that is going to be going down. You just got to focus on it. You just got to look, and you just got to make sure that you know what is going down. So those are the injuries. Now let's talk about that Monday night game, because there is a Monday night game. I do want to talk about the Monday night game, but usually what we will do here on Tuesdays is we will be recapping the Monday night game. So this week, we're going to preview the Monday night game, and I was just talking about the Jets, Dalvin Cook, Breece Hall, Garrett Wilson, and Aaron Rodgers. They're going up against those mighty, mighty Buffalo Bills with Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs, James Cook. They got a bunch of new people. The Bills and Jets going to go out there on Monday night. I think this is going to be a very good game. And if you want me to predict it right at this moment, I'm going to say it's 34-27 Bills. I'm going to say Aaron Rodgers puts up a very good show. But the one thing about Aaron Rodgers is, if you guys know, yes, it might take him some time to get and do what he wants to do or whatever. But Aaron Rodgers is going to be petty this year. Rodgers is going to go out there and he's going to make sure that he proves everybody wrong on why that they said that he shouldn't have gone to the Jets. So Aaron Rodgers, it might not have a good week 1, but don't put it past him to come out week 2 and ball out. So I'm not saying he's going to have an awful game, but what I'm going to say is that Aaron Rodgers might not do what we all think he's going to do right away. So it just could be very happening. And so I just wanted to mention the Monday night game. You guys let me know in the comments what you guys think. I'm going to get to your comments after we get through all of these things. And then, we'll go into the next segment and everything like that. But the other thing and the last thing I want to do, because we obviously can't do the 3 things I learned. I haven't learned anything yet from the season. We'll do that next week. We have no disappointments because of nobody playing yet. And we don't have any top performances. But I thought what it would be a good idea, instead of doing that, I want to give you 5 guys that might be disappointments this year. And I want to give you 5 guys that I think that might have themselves a really, really good year. So let's start with those top performances. And let's talk about those guys that I think are going to have a phenomenal year that you're going to be able to trust. And number 5, let's go Garrett Wilson. Garrett Wilson, he's got a new quarterback in Mr. Aaron Rodgers. He's going to go out there, he's going to do his thing, and he's going to have himself a very good time. I think Garrett Wilson definitely benefits from having Aaron Rodgers as a quarterback now, and Garrett Wilson will go out there and prove to everybody why he is that wide receiver that we all know he is. Number 4, I'm going to say, how can we go wrong with the King? King Henry, Derrick Henry. Number 4, King Henry's been the best, one of the best of all time for a very long time since he's come into the league, and I don't think it's going to stop there. So, number 4, I'm going to say that Derrick Henry is a very good top performance this year. Number 3, it's going to be Austin Ekeler for me. Austin Ekeler, we could put Christian McCaffrey, we could put Patty Mahomes, we could put other guys in there, but Austin Ekeler to me, with him catching it out of the backfield, running the ball, having Justin Herbert throw him the ball, it's going to be great, and I think Austin Ekeler is going to be a guy, if you drafted him, I think he's going to be very good, and he's going to put up those points every single week that you need to make sure that you have, that you get, so then you make sure that you take the wins every single week. Number 2, we just talked about this guy, but he is still the best tight end in the league, and I think no matter what happens, I have like a 70-30 confidence that Travis Kelce will play this week, because I know Travis Kelce will want to go out there and ball out. But if Travis Kelce doesn't play this week, I think it's just a precautionary. And I think Travis Kelce will be back. And again, it is only week 1. So you can't get too, if he's out for like 4 to 6 weeks, if something comes out like that, then it might be time to panic a little bit. But they did say he's day-to-day. They said they were going to have to wait and see how it is. So Travis Kelce, still the number 2 player to me that I think that will be there at the end of the season, that will still get the points that you need to make sure you get the wins this year. And number 1, he was the 1.01 overall pick. He might very well be the best receiver in the league. He is on those Minnesota Vikings, and he is the guy, the man, the myth, the legend. It's Jetta. It's Justin Jefferson. Justin Jefferson, Kirk Cousins going to go out there and ball out all year this year. It's going to be a sight to see. So if you were able to get Justin Jefferson, hopefully you built a good team around him and you could take home that championship. Because yes, it might be good to have guys that are, going to be like that and everything like that. But it's good to have guys that, we can trust and go out there and that are going to put up the points that we need. So Justin Jefferson, obviously a lot to be in your lineups every single week unless of a bye week or anything else. So Justin Jefferson's my top 5 or my number 1 top performer of this year that I do believe it. Now let's talk about top guys that not that I don't think they're going to have a great year or a good year. I just don't know how I feel, and it's more of I want to see what happens. So number 5, let's start with the Falcons because we got a couple Falcons on this list. And number 5, I'm going to put Kyle Pitts. And it's not that Kyle Pitts is a disappointment. He was a huge disappointment last year. Kyle Pitts was that guy that we all thought was going to go out there and be the best tight end in the league. He was going to go out there and put up numbers like Travis Kelce, Mark Andrews, George Kittle, and he just did not do such thing. And Kyle Pitts, he's due for a bounce back year, but I want to see it happen. So Kyle Pitts, you're kind of on that list for me. So number 4, let's go another Falcons player. And it's not even that I don't believe in this guy. I just want to see him go out there and do it because the PTSD that I have from Falcons running backs and Falcons anything, they just stress me out. So Bijan Robinson is one of my top 5 guys that not that I'm like disappointed in or that I think is going to have a bad year. I'm just more of worried about because we can't really do a disappointments right now because there's not guys that are disappointments and we got to wait and see what happens. As I said, just wait and see. So Robinson, I think Robinson could go out there and do that. It just depends on how the Falcons use him. And it just depends on how things are going to be done. Number 3, it's Cooper Kupp. Cooper Kupp for me, I know we just talked about Cooper Kupp and everything like that. Well, Cooper Kupp a couple years ago was the best receiver in the league, number 1 overall pick. And since then, he hasn't been able to stay healthy. He can't stay on the field. And it seems like we're going into this year again where it's just like you don't know what's going to happen. And I saw a lot of people keep him or draft him very high in leagues. And I'm just like, I'm not saying nothing because maybe people know something that I don't know. But I don't know. So number 3, I'm going to have to go with Cooper Kupp. Number 2, it's got to be, and it's going to be the guy from the Indianapolis Colts that did not get traded and that I just do not know what's going to happen with him. And it is Mr. Jonathan Taylor. Jonathan Taylor is, was the RB1-2 I had him a few years ago. I had him and Derrick Henry a few years ago, guys, and they literally carried me the whole year. I barely made the playoffs. I got knocked out in the first round, but they did carry me all the way to the playoffs. And now we're sitting here, week 1 of the fantasy football season. Just a few years ago, we thought that Jonathan Taylor would be a baller and he would go out there and do his thing. I just don't know how to feel about Jonathan Taylor, and it obviously doesn't seem like we're going to be seeing Jonathan Taylor. And, you know, that Indianapolis backfield is kind of all bonkers, where they got Deion Jackson, they got Zach Moss, but Zach Moss is hurt. They got that rookie. They got so many things going on. I don't know. But number one for me, and again, this isn't disappointing. It's more of a wait and see. And I want to go back to this list next week and see what happens, because these guys might ball out and go out. And it's funny because this guy is actually in my stardom this week, because I do believe that he's going to have a good week, but I just want to see him go out there and do it. And it's actually 2 guys, but I'll say one of them, and then we'll talk about the other guy when we get to them and later on in the show. So number 1 for me, it's going to be Calvin Ridley. Calvin Ridley, guys, he was on the Falcons. We all know what happened with him. We all know everything that he did, and we all know everything that happened. I don't want to get into all that because this is a fantasy show. That's not what this is. So, fantasy football talk. So, Calvin Ridley, I think Calvin Ridley going to the Jaguars, being with T-Law, having Travis Etienne, Evan Ingram, Christian Kirk. They got a great wide receiver core. They got a good running back room. They got a good quarterback. You know, I think the Jags is a good place for Calvin Ridley to be. But is he going to go out there and be the Calvin Ridley that we all know that he's going to be? Because I was listening to the fantasy football show today from yesterday, and Adam Rake made a good point. Remember Josh Gordon, where Josh Gordon would come back and everybody would think he's an wide receiver 1, and he was going to come out and do his thing, but he wasn't. He never did. And Calvin Ridley, we haven't seen Calvin Ridley play football in a minute. He hasn't been out there. He looked decent in the preseason and everything, but that's preseason. So we're just going to have to wait and see what happens with that. So those are my top 5 guys that I want to wait and see and just see what happens on. Because, again, I don't want to call them a disappointment yet, but those are top 5 guys that I'm kind of worried about. So now that we did those, we did the top performances, and we did the wait and see guys, aka the disappointments that I'm worried about this year. Let's get into the chat and let's get to see what everybody's talking about and everybody is saying before we get to the next part and the second part of the fantasy football show, where we talk about the bye weeks. We talk about bold predictions, waiver wire pickups, stardom, sit-em, and streams. And something new we'll be adding to the show, as I will be taking every single game of the week, and I will be picking and choosing teams that I think are going to win. And we're going to see how I do here and see how I am good at picking the winners and not just fantasy football. So let's get to the chat. Let's see what everybody is saying. We got Jadis here. Jadis, you got Jalen Ramsey news? Bro, what kind of Jalen Ramsey news? What you got? What you got, bro? Jadis said he's got Jalen Ramsey news. Jadis, what you got, homie? Wait, that's Monday night. I thought Monday night is the Jets and Monday night is the Jets and Bills. The Steelers play at noon. I don't know where Missy's at. My doctor. He said, my doctor, Britt Baker. Kyle Pitts did. Yes, I know, Jadis. I had him. He better show us that's what I'm saying. No. Not Bryce Young. Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter of the Who? I don't understand what that means. But we got Oos in the building. We got Oos. Oos got some good questions. Oos, what's up, bro? How you doing? I appreciate you dropping your questions. So he wants to know 12 or 14 team league, half point PPR. So he's got Geno, Jamar Chase, Devontae Smith. He's got Najee Harris, Cam Akers, Dalton Schultz, benches, Jahan Dotson, DJ Moore, Elijah Moore. Hunter Renfrow, Breece Hall, Kareem Hunt, Dulcich, and Ferguson. Who do I start at tight end? Okay, flex, definitely DJ Moore. I'd go DJ Moore all day because DJ Moore is the number one receiver for Justin Fields. And Jahan Dotson, I don't know who Sam Howell's favorite receiver is going to be. So I'm going to go DJ Moore on that. And if you're asking for a tight end, Dalton Schultz is in the Texans now. I got to make sure I remember that because I always forget, and I need to make sure I remember that. Greg Dulcich with the Broncos, and then we got Ferguson. So I would go because the Titans are playing the Ravens, and so I would go Schultz because I feel like the rookie is going to want to CJ Stroud. That is the rookie, CJ Stroud. I feel like CJ Stroud, if he's going to look for a receivers, their best or quarterback, rookie, best friends are tight ends. So if you're looking for targets and stuff and such, I think that Schultz is a very good option. I think Ferguson, low-key, could be a sleeper, though, because Ferguson is the number one in Dallas now that Schultz is gone. But I have a little bit more confidence in Schultz because we know what he can go out there and do. So, yeah. We got Missy. What's up? Yeah, they're going to go crazy. Yeah, they are going to go crazy. I was just confused. I was like, well, what are we talking about here? I'm just like, I just didn't understand for a second. I was just like, well, yeah. So, now let's get into the second part of the show, guys. As I said, Oos has got another question. Before we do that, let's get to Oos's other question. He's got T-Law. He's got Ridley, Keenan Allen, Saquon Barkley, Tony Pollard. That's a good running back core. TJ Hawkinson. Who should I start in the flex? If I'm starting anybody in the flex, I would go Pickens or Madison. Pickens or Madison, because Madison is now the number one in Minnesota. And Madison, we've seen what Madison can do when given the opportunity. So now, guys, as I said, let's get into it. But as I said, if you got any more questions, you got any more teams you want to help me out with, Oos, let me know. I'm here all the time for you. But now, guys, let's get into the second part of the show. It is going to be bold predictions, some stardom, sit-em, and streams. We're going to do those NFL picks, and I'm going to tell you some guarantees that I have for week one, and then we're going to get going. There's no teams on a bye. We got no waiver wires as of now because obviously it's only week one. So if you want to go look at any other waiver wires, all I'm going to tell you is make sure you drafted the good team. And if you're already looking at the waiver wire, then you must have not been confident in your team. So let's start that off, guys, and let's start it off here with some bold predictions for week one of the NFL football season and the fantasy football season. And let me tell you my first bold prediction of the first bold prediction of the 2024 season is going to be that a quarterback has 5 rushing touchdowns. Yes, it's week one. Anything can happen. Any given Sunday, guys, 5 rushing touchdowns from one quarterback. I don't know which quarterback it's going to be, but a quarterback's getting that 5 touchdowns. And another one, I'm going to say a rookie goes off this week. If it's Jordan Addison, if it's somebody that we weren't thinking of, if it's the tight end rookie on the Lions, Sam Laporta, if it's somebody that takes over for somebody hurt. I'm saying that a rookie is going bananas this weekend. And my last bold predictions for week one is that on Thursday night, we're all expecting the Chiefs to go out there and spank and put a whooping on those Detroit Lions. But I'm going to say Dan Quinn's Detroit Lions come out, and they actually do a good job. They put on a show, and they have themselves a good time, and they come out and they defeat the Super Bowl champions week one of the NFL football season. Bold predictions galore, everybody. So now that we get to that, let's get into the starts, the sits, and the streams of week number 1. As I tell you guys, this is the guys I tell you where you should sit them, you should start them, you should stream them, and all the guys you need to put in your lineup, and all the guys you need to take out of your lineup, and then some streamers that you can put in your lineup for all the guys I tell you to sit and take out of your lineup. So let's get to those guys, and let's start off with the stardom, because that's what we need to do. So let's talk about it. Lamar Jackson going up against those Houston Texans. Lamar Jackson's going to go out there. He's going to ball out, and he's going to have himself a good old time taking on and scoring a good touchdown. If it's rushing, passing, giving it to J.K. Dobbins, whatever it is, you start Lamar Jackson. Dak Prescott, Giants, Sunday Night Football. I don't know why, but this is either going to be a very good game for the Cowboys or it's going to be a very close game. And I think the Cowboys are going to come out on top. I think Dak's going to have a couple touchdowns. He's going to throw one to his new receiver, Brandon Cooks. Tony Pollard will have a few touchdowns. And I do believe the Cowboys are going to beat the New York Giants. We got James Cook. If you have James Cook in your lineup and he's a super flex, or if you draft him as an RB2, I'm not telling you to start him over like anybody crazy, or I'm not telling you to start him over anybody like, it is week 1. Unless you have like major injuries, or if say you have Cooper Kupp as a receiver and you take a flex wide receiver, you put James Cook in your flex option. The other receiver I'm going to tell you to start this week, it's Miles Sanders. He's on his new team. He left those Philadelphia Eagles. Now he's going over to the Panthers, and he's going up against those Falcons. And I don't know how to feel about those Falcons yet. So we're going to start Miles Sanders this week. Now, do you remember about 10 minutes ago when I was talking about the 5 guys that I was worried about? Well, I'm worried about this guy, but he is the number 1 option in and on the Titans. So I'm going to say, besides Derrick Henry, I'm going to say you go out there and you start DeAndre Hopkins. If you took a flyer on him, if you took a flex option, a bench option, I say you go out there and you start DeAndre Hopkins against those New Orleans Saints. As I'm going to be bold, and I'm going to say DeAndre Hopkins is 100 yards and 1 touchdown. Calvin Ridley, even though I said that I'm worried about him, I'm still going to go out there and start him because he's got something to prove. And if Calvin Ridley wants to do anything to make anybody and prove to everybody that he isn't that guy anymore, you go out there and you destroy the secondary of those Indianapolis Colts on your new team. You make Trevor Lawrence look like a superstar, and you have a good time in week 1 for the Jacksonville Jaguars. So, Calvin Ridley, if you have him, start him. Now, 2 tight ends you need to start. 49ers, I'm going to say you start Pat Freiermuth. Did you guys know, and big shout out to my man Corey, that Pat Freiermuth was one of the most targeted tight ends in fantasy football last year? And Kenny Pickett's returning. He's still got Deontay Johnson. He's still got Pickens. He's still got all these guys. But he always loved Pat Freiermuth. So this year, I think Pat Freiermuth could be a sleeper tight end. And if you have a Travis Kelce, if Travis Kelce does not play, Pat Freiermuth is, I think, a very good option. And if Travis Kelce does play, I still think you start Travis Kelce. You cannot not start Travis Kelce. You can't. Darren Waller, though. Darren Waller went over to a new team. He changed teams and he switched over to teams. Darren Waller is now a part of the New York Giants, and I think that he's going to want to show up on Sunday Night Football for his new team. So if you have Darren Waller, I think this week is a very good option to start him. The tight end, or not the other tight end, I'm sorry, the defense I'm going to tell you to start this week is those Buffalo Bills against Aaron Rodgers and his New York Jets. Listen, I understand Aaron Rodgers is probably going to be petty, but could we look at the track record for Aaron Rodgers on week 1? Aaron Rodgers has not had a very good week 1, honestly, unless if he's facing the Chicago Bears, and that's just because he likes to phase me and he likes to make me angry, and he likes to just do the things that Aaron Rodgers loves to do. So I'm going to say you start the Bills defense, and I'm going to say Aaron Rodgers isn't going to have a great week 1, but I'll say week 2, Aaron Rodgers probably comes out petty as hell, angry as all hell, and he comes out and he balls out week 2. So Buffalo Bills, I think they're a great defense to start this week. And honestly, I think they're a good defense to start all year. So now let's get to the sits of the week and all the guys that we are going to be sitting this week for week 1 of the fantasy football season. And it's more of that, not even that I don't trust these guys, I just want to see what happens. It's a lot of wait and see, guys. So my sit for the week, it's going to be Mr. Aaron, Mr. Aaron Rodgers. I just don't know how to feel about Aaron Rodgers. As I just said with the Buffalo Bills defense, Aaron Rodgers, he hasn't had and he doesn't have a very good track record on week one. And I think the Buffalo Bills are going to do their best to try to expose that as best as they possibly can. So I don't know if I'm trying to risk week one with Aaron Rodgers as my quarterback against that tough Buffalo Bills defense on Monday Night Football. Mac Jones against that Eagles defense. I don't know if I'm trusting Mac Jones against that Eagles defense. Najee Harris, that 49ers defense scares me against anybody, but Najee Harris needs to prove to me that he can actually be this number one running back, and Najee Harris needs to prove he can go out there and he could actually be that guy that we always draft, but he never lives up to what we all expect him to be. Cam Akers, listen, bro, I get it. You had another great end of the year last year. You coming into this year all hype and everything, but you did that to us last year, and you made me trade for you. So you're going to be on my sit list a lot this year because I just do not trust you. And you're going up against that Seattle Seahawks defense. I don't know how that's going to go for them. And to be honest, Seattle might just run away with this game where it's Kenneth Walker running the ball up and down the field left and right. So I'm going to stay away from Cam Akers. Odell Beckham Jr. against the Texans. Listen, Odell might go out there and have himself a very, very good game. But let him go do that for somebody else's team. Because if he doesn't, I don't want to be a part of it where I'm watching 2 points on my wide receivers because Odell Beckham wants to go out there and have a bust of a game. So Odell Beckham, I can't even believe I'm saying it, bro, after all these years, but I just cannot trust you anymore. Terry Scary McLaurin. Yes, I said that. He's scary. He's got a turf toe, and they're going up against the Arizona Cardinals. Listen, I love the Washington Commanders defense, but I just do not trust Terry McLaurin. He puts up numbers, he puts up points. I had him last year, but with turf toe people, that scares me so much. Turf toe just scares me. Now the tight ends I'm sitting because this is a wait and see process, as I was saying earlier with Mr. Kyle Pitts. You sit Kyle Pitts until he can go out there and prove that he can have a game where he can score over 10 fantasy points. Because I'm tired of looking at Kyle Pitts on my lineups and him not scoring any fantasy points. So if Kyle Pitts wants to go on another team and score 10 fantasy points, more than welcome to. But I'm not looking at it this week, and I'm sitting in this week versus the Carolina Panthers. And yes, I understand that it's hard to sit tight ends, and it's always hard to find tight ends. But I mean, we have Mark Andrews, we have Pat Freiermuth, we have Darren Waller, we have Sam Laporta, we have Cole Kmet, we have Evan Ingram, we have Mark Andrews, we have Isaiah Likely if Mark Andrews doesn't play, we have TJ Hockenson, we have all these guys, and I think the tight end position has been probably the deepest that it's been in a minute. We have Jawu Johnson. I mean, there's a lot of guys out there. So Kyle Pitts, I'm just not trusting you. Dawson Knox. Now, this isn't even Dawson Knox's fault, but the Buffalo Bills went out there and drafted that tight end. And I think he's going to be very good and a very focal point of the offense. And there's so many mouths to feed in Buffalo that I just don't know how Dawson Knox is going to do. But again, him and Josh Allen do have a connection. So this is for more of a deeper league where if you have a good tight end, probably sit him. But I mean, if you have to start Dawson Knox in like a two tight end league, then I definitely understand that. But it's not my favorite thing to do. And just don't expect anything. But hey, if he gets a touchdown, I mean, that's all we ask for from our tight ends. Now, the defense that I'm going to sit, I just talked about their running back and their offense. I just do not know how to feel about them. And their defense, I don't know how to feel about them either. It's the Los Angeles Rams, guys. The Los Angeles Rams are the team that, they went on, they made it to the Super Bowl. They won the Super Bowl. They did all these things. And it is now what it is. So I don't even know really how to feel about the Los Angeles Rams. And I just don't trust their defense. I don't trust Cam Akers. I don't trust Cooper. I don't trust any of the Rams players if my life depended on it. So now let's get to the guys that I just told you to take out of your lineup. Well, these guys are guys that you can put in your lineup and I feel confident in they can have a decent game. So Jared Goff going up against those Kansas City Chiefs. Kansas City Chiefs are going to be having a Super Bowl hangover. They're going to be partying. The banner is going to be raised. We're going to be celebrating. It's going to be a good time. But Jared Goff very well might take advantage of that. And this is more of like if you have like a quarterback injury, or if you're in 2 quarterback leagues, if you didn't get 2 top quarterbacks. Jared Goff, I think, is a very good streaming option. And again, hopefully, you don't have to worry about any of these streaming options, and you just drafted a phenomenal team, and you're like, Tino, shut up. I don't care. I don't have to listen to this part because I got the best team in the world, and I'm going 16-0. So, but if you do have not a very good team, start and stream Jared Goff if you need to. Now, Tua Tagovailoa, I think, is a very good streaming option against the Chargers because I think that game is going to be very high scoring. And I do believe that Tua, with the weapons that he has, with a Jalen Waddle, Tyreek Hill, he's got Raheem Mostert now. He's got all these guys that I think is going to be good. And I think Tua this week against the Chargers is a good option. Now, Dalvin Cook taking on those Buffalo Bills. I know I said, don't start any Buffalo Bills. The Buffalo Bills defense is going to be good. But this is more for like a super flex league where like you need somebody and I have to start him in one of my leagues because it's my only option. But I think Dalvin Cook with Breece Hall out, I think that Breece Hall can go out there, or I'm sorry, Dalvin Cook can go out there with Breece Hall out. I think Dalvin Cook or limited because Breece Hall will play, but he's limited. So depending on how limited he really is, I think Dalvin Cook could go out there and get a quick touchdown. And again, that's all I'll take. I'll take that from a super flex all day long. Gus the Bus Edwards. Every year I sit here and we talk about fantasy football. And every single year I talk about fantasy football, this man comes up and it just doesn't matter if it's week 1, if it's week 17, if it's the Super Bowl of fantasy football. Gus the Bus Edwards is here every single year to make sure that he gets in our options some way or another. So this week against those Houston Texans, yes, they got J.K. Dobbins and everything, but Gus the Bus Edwards can get himself a touchdown. And as I just said about those wide receiver, running back, super flex options, it's always good. And really, in reality, all we really do need is a touchdown. So that's what I'm going to say. Now, my wide receiver streams for the week, I'm going to go George Pickens taking on those San Francisco 49ers. The 49ers defense is good and everything, but Kenny Pickett's going to need somebody to throw to. And I think George Pickens is a very good option. Yes, Deontay Johnson is there, but it seems like George Pickens and Kenny Pickett got themselves a very good connection. And I think if you need a streamer or a wide receiver 3, a flex or a super flex, I think George Pickens is a great option. Now, Brandin Cooks. Did you guys know that Brandin Cooks has had over 1,000 yards in almost every single year? Did you guys know that Brandin Cooks has not had a very good receiver in almost every single year? Well, now Brandin Cooks is going to have a decent quarterback in Dak Prescott. He's going to be on them Cowboys. And we know how Dak Prescott loves to throw the ball deep. So Brandin Cooks as a flex option, if you're very limited on depending on what you drafted and what you have, going up against those Giants on Sunday Night Football might be very good, and you might be sitting there on Sunday night being like, yeah, I just started Brandin Cooks, and that guy just ran for 70-yard touchdown. So, Brandin Cooks, stream him against those Giants. Isaiah Likely. Now, this is more of if depending on Mark Andrews is out or not, because if Mark Andrews is in, as I said about Travis Kelce, if Mark Andrews plays for football team, he plays for the Baltimore Ravens, he plays for your fantasy football team. Just like Travis Kelce. If Travis Kelce suits up on Thursday, Travis Kelce is starting in your fantasy football team. So Isaiah Likely is a very good option if Mark Andrews is out. Now this guy, my guy all the way from Duval. Shout out to my man Warren. I know Warren loves this guy. But Evan Ingram, the tight end for those Jacksonville Jaguars, was a huge upgrade for me at tight end. He helped me out tremendously last year. And I do believe that Evan Ingram is a very good and a very likely sleeper for this year. And my streaming and I said sleeper for Evan Ingram, but I do say you stream him this week. Washington Commanders defense. They're going up against the Arizona Cardinals. The Arizona Cardinals, I don't even know who's starting at quarterback for them. with Kyler Murray out and Kyler Murray not being the Kyler Murray that we all wanted him and expected him to be, I think those Washington Commanders are going to go out there feasting on Sunday, and they might be eating some Cardinals, and the Commanders are going to be commanding all over Arizona. So if you need a streaming defense, as I like to do, unless I get a top defense like the 49ers or the Bills or the Giants, or not the Giants, the Eagles, teams like that, I like streaming defenses. And I'm going to stream those Washington Commanders this week. So those are all of my starts, sits, and streams for week number 1 of the fantasy football season. Now, before we get into the last thing we're going to do here on the channel, guys, today, because as I said, there's a few things we really can't do because obviously we don't have everything up, and So the last thing we're going to do before we do the pick'em of week 1, we're going to do my 3 guarantees for week 1, and I'm going to just tell you, anything is possible. It's week 1 of the NFL fantasy football season, guys. A rookie could go off. A team that nobody expects can win. A team that everybody thought sucked will go off. It's week 1 of the fantasy football season. Shenanigans going to be in full force, and there's just going to be a lot of stuff be going down. So I guarantee you, next week here on Tuesday, next week at 3 o'clock, we'll be talking about something that none of us thought was going to happen at this time right now. My number 2 bold guarantee for week 1 is there will be an upset. As I just said, anything can happen, and I do believe that there is going to be an upset this week. I don't know who it's going to be, if it's the Lions and Chiefs, if it's if it's the Cardinals over the Commanders, if it's the Jets over the Bills, if it's whoever it is, there's going to be an upset this week. Okay, and last one, this is just because I know Jadis is going to love this one, and just because I guarantee it's going to happen. He had 13 of them last year. I guarantee you that our guy Jalen Hurts from those Philadelphia Eagles is going to get at least 1 rushing touchdown, and they're going to have themselves a very good time, and they're going to be partying in Philly, and they're going to be doing the Eagle, and they're going to be doing woohoo. It's going to be a party in Philly. But guys, now let's get to the chat, and then the last thing we're going to do here is do our pick'em. So I got to get to the chat. I got to get all the way up. I got to make sure. Let's see. I am now. Let's see. Missy says, I am now to fantasy football. Jalen Carter will win that defensive player of the year. Oos says, thank you. You're welcome, Oos. Anytime, Oos. Put up the ones, Oos. Breece Hall going to be our second running back on the Jets. He will be for the time being, yes. I hope Jalen Carter wins defensive rookie of the year. Maybe Will Anderson. Maybe. Yeah, it's going to be a good fight. Chris says Jalen Carter has 5 sacks against those New England Patriots. Interesting. 3-4. He says the Jets will defeat those Buffalo Bills. Dang, true. What's up, Hassan? What's up, Courtney? He said, why? That's interesting. Why would you start don't listen to Chris, guys. Do not start the Jets defense. Don't. Maybe they do. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't know. I don't know. I trust Aaron Rodgers against the Buffalo Bills defense than I trust Mac Jones against the Philadelphia Eagles. That's why I told you to sit both of them. You sit both of them. I don't trust Mac Jones or Aaron Rodgers. Where is Jadis? I don't know where Jadis is at. What's up, Corey? Corey, it's like you heard me, bro. Joshua Dobbs. What about Joshua Dobbs? Breece Hall won't practice, but he will play on Monday night. Yes, he won't practice, but hey, Chase Young, you know he's going to be. Dobbs. Oh, Joshua Dobbs. That's right. That makes the Commanders' defense a better start. Joshua Dobbs is starting for the Arizona Cardinals. You go out there and you get those Commanders defense to go put you up some fantasy points. Corey, what do we do about this Travis Kelce, bro? I need assistance, man. You need to help me. I don't know what to do. So, no, but for real. Thank you, Corey, stopping by. I appreciate it. So, guys, let's do the last thing that we're going to do here every single week on the channel before we go for the rest of the Tuesday. And yes, we'll still be doing NXT until the end of October. So we still got 2 full months of NXT live streams here on the channel. So don't you worry, I'll still be here tonight. But lastly, guys, let's go over these picks for the week. And let's go through every single one of them. And then next week, we're going to come here and we're going to see who I got right and who I got wrong. And we're going to keep a record throughout the season. And if you want to keep a record of yours too, you do so as well. But for week 1 of the NFL season, I'm going to take a drink of water first before we make these predictions. Let's go. Now we got week 1. Let's go. So we're going to start with Thursday night. I know I said that the Lions are going to beat the Chiefs, but I'm going to say the Chiefs win. I'll pick the Chiefs to win. The Bengals and Browns, I'll take the Bengals to win. I think the Bengals will beat the Browns. Now the Buccaneers and Vikings, the Buccaneers scare me because of Mr. Baker Mayfield. So I'm going to go with the Vikings on this one. 49ers against the Steelers. The Falcons and the Panthers could be very back and forth, but I say after it's done, I say the Falcons win. The Dolphins and Chargers, I'll say the Dolphins pick up the W on that one. The Rams and the Seahawks, I'm going to take the Seahawks to win. The Texans and the Ravens, I'll take the Ravens to pick up the dub. Jaguars and Colts, I'm going to say that it's a close one, but I'm going to say Anthony Richardson gets his first W of 2023, and it's against those Jacksonville Jaguars. Tennessee Titans against New Orleans Saints. I'm going to say that the Saints win by 3 points. Now, the Cardinals and Commanders, Joshua Dobbs, no chance in hell. I'm taking those Washington Commanders to win. The Las Vegas Raiders taking on those Denver Broncos. I'm going to say Russell Wilson comes out and he balls out for those Denver Broncos at home. We got a Super Bowl rematch of Jadis's Philadelphia Eagles taking on those New England Patriots. And I'm going to take the New England Patriots. No, I'm just kidding. I'm taking the Philadelphia Eagles. Eagles all day. Fly, Eagles, fly. Eagles taking that dub against the Patriots. Now, we got those Green Bay Fudge Packers and those Chicago Bears. Let's bear down, Bears. Chicago Bears, bear down all the way. We will be live for this game this week for that game at 3:30, 3:20. So make sure you come and hang out and watch the Bears and Packers game. We will also be watching the other 3 o'clock games. So we'll be watching the Chargers and the Dolphins, the Rams and the Seahawks, the Eagles and the Patriots, the Raiders and the Broncos, and all of those other ones. So come and hang out with me at 3:20 as we go live for those Bears and those Packers. And hopefully, because you guys already know, I'm not taking those Green Bay Fudge Packers. I'm taking the Chicago Bears, Justin Fields. He's going to pick up the dub, and we're going to have ourselves a good old time. And then Sunday Night Football, guys, it's them Cowboys taking on those New York Giants. And I'm going to say them boys pick up the dub. I'm going to say Cowboys take the W. And then next Monday night, when we're back here watching Monday Night Raw, and finally, Monday Night Football is back in business, guys. And we don't have to sit here and look at a black screen or watch the White Sox get their butts kicked anymore. Okay, that's just me. But we'll be watching Monday Night Football every week here on Monday Night Live, on the Monday Night Raw live streams, and Monday Night Football. So the Buffalo Bills and those New York Jets, I'm going to take the Buffalo Bills to pick up the dub here. I just think it's going to take a week for Rodgers to get going. And then after that, Rodgers is going to be petty. And then Rodgers will come out week 2 and just ball out. So before we go here and before we get ready for the week 1, let's see if we got any questions. And let's see what's going on. We got Missy. She says, I'm new to fantasy football. We got Corey in the house. We got tight ends who are owned in not many leagues. Jawoon Johnson led New Orleans with 7 TDs last year. Dalton Schultz with the lack of weapons, as I said that earlier, Corey. I said if you're looking for a tight end, I mean Dalton Schultz is a good option because there's no weapons. I mean, listen, if you're not gonna listen to me, at least listen to Corey. Noah Gray made. Oh God, don't even say that. I don't know. I just pray that Travis Kelce plays. I'm praying because of course, the 1 year I drafted him, Corey, of course. He says I choose the Buccaneers, the Dolphins, and the Raiders. Chiefs win, Bengals win, Vikings, Patriots, or Panthers, Chargers, Seahawks, Eagles, Bears, Giants, and Bills. The Jets upset the Bills. Chris, I'm gonna keep you to that one. But guys, that is everything that I have here for you for week 1 of the NFL fantasy football and regular season. If anything other does breaking, if anybody else gets hurt, if anybody else is out, you will know. Just make sure you guys go follow all those social medias. But before I show you and tell you all those social medias to go follow, I need you guys to go and hit that notification button so you can come and hang out with us when we come back here tonight, guys, as we watch NXT. It's just your boy Tino on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays now. Leo and Lamar are now only on Monday Night Raw. So come and hang out. Are we going to see Becky Lynch show up to NXT? We got Dominic as the special guest referee. We got Roxanne Perez, Dragon Lee, and so much more. So come and hang out tonight as we go live at 7 o'clock for NXT. But make sure that you set that notification button on every Tuesday afternoon so you come here and I help you set your weekly lineups. So, guys, remember to go follow all the social medias here on Tino's Time. Remember to become a member. Leave a super chat or two, all of that good stuff. But if you can't do any of that, I do understand. But do go make sure you follow those social medias. Make sure that you hit the like button on this episode. You hit the like button everywhere on all of the episodes. You go and you make sure you subscribe on the road to 2K. We are 2 subscribers away to 1,230 subscribers. So if you have not yet, go hit that subscribe button as we are on the road to 2K. And finally, as I keep saying, turn that notification button on so you know when we go live next, which will be at 7 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time. And the last thing I'm going to say is right there with you, Jadis, baby. I don't know why I said baby, but football is back, baby. Baby. Whatever you want to, however you want to say it. Football is back, and it starts on Thursday night. We will be live here if you have not seen yet. Thursday night football will be live here for kickoff NFL Thursday. It's the Lions. It's those Chiefs. Travis Kelce, please get on the football field. So, guys, go enjoy the rest of your Tuesday afternoon, and I will see you guys all tonight for NXT at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. As I said, go turn that notification button on so you can go and hang out with your boy all night long. Guys, have a great one, and I'll see you tonight for NXT.